Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James. Guys, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Do you know what? Don't want to miss out. Free content. Doesn't cost you a penny. Unless you want to obviously do a super thanks or, join the channel. Then smash that sub. Ring that bell. Well, we're going to talk about the one in, one out. That's what it's been today. One's gone. One's arrived. We knew that was going to happen. We knew that's the way it's been all summer, really, that we have to sell to buy. We've sold. And we haven't bought, but we've kind of loaned, and even loan deals have money to spend. You've got loan fees to pay, initial fees to the wages to players. There is fees to pay around a loan. So one player's left and brought in some money. We'll talk a little bit about, even though it's been put as undisclosed, there are certain stories around how much the money for Lammers actually is. Hint, that's who's left. And what Joan Jordan or Joan Jordan or whatever you want to call him has said about a potential move to Rangers, despite the fact that it seems that Sevilla and Rangers have agreed terms on a loan. Well, let's start off with the departure from Rangers. So it's announced today by both FC Twente and by Rangers that Sam Lammers is no longer a Rangers player. He is now an FC Twente player, and there he is signing his contract. Looks happy, doesn't he? Now, look, it never really worked out for Sam as a Rangers player, did it? He always struggled, I think, with the transition to the Scottish game. The speed, the physicality, the intensity, the pressure of playing for Rangers. And then when he went back to the Eredivisie at the turn of the year, he looked like a different player. 11 goals in 20 games, 4 assists, 15 goal contributions. He looked like a top class talent, and left a lot of Rangers fans saying, is it the same player? And what the hell happened to Sam Lammers? And is that Sam Lammers, better brother? And we got the evil twin. What on earth happened with Sam? Well, he's all summer he has been linked with a return to the Eredivisie, with a number of clubs supposedly coming in with bids, but due to disagreement over wages or terms of contract, those moves have failed to go through. First of all, FC Utrecht, the team that he was at, that he had great success with in the Eredivisie, came in for him, but it appeared that wages were the stumbling block. Also, Alkmaar as well, who then went and signed, I think it was Parrott from Tottenham. It was also NEC Nijmegen, who also showed an interest in him, but again, that one broke down. But eventually, FC Twente have managed to get the Sam Lammers deal over the line, and there he is in his FC Twente kit. Sam Lammers was delighted to sign, apparently talking about playing for Twente in Europe and giving Twente a chance of success in the Eredivisie. And Twente's kit's made by Castor. Interesting. Anyway, Sam Lammers joins Twente for, now, it's said to be an undisclosed fee. However, there are reports emerging from Holland tonight and also from Scotland as well. The initial fee is £2.5 million, rising to £4 million, depending on certain criteria being met. And there are also certain add-ons as well in the contract, which have not been disclosed for professional reasons between the two clubs. Look, Sam Lammers was never a success at the club. Pre-season he was. I think pre-season he kind of misled us, didn't he? Pre-season we all thought we had the next B-Tech Brian Laudrup on our hands. But then he flattered to deceive with some pretty hideous performances. And look, I think, my thoughts on this. My feelings on this. I think Sam is very at home in the Eredivisie. That's where his style suits best. That's where his ability suits him best. He's been successful in the Eredivisie. He was successful with Herenveen. He was successful with PSV. He was successful with Utrecht. I've got no doubts he'll probably be successful with Twente, and we'll all be sat here in a year's time when he scored 20 goals in the Eredivisie going, where the hell was that player? And did we not use him right? Or, what was the situation? I don't think it would have mattered where we used him, if I'm being really honest about this. We could have put him up front as a 9, an out-and-out 9. We could have played him anywhere. But I just don't think his style, his ability, his talents were suited to the Scottish game. I mean, it's a damning indictment, really, of Michael Beale and his scouting policy and his ability to spot a player who could cope in Scotland. Sam Lammers was someone he invested a lot of money in. I think it was 3.5 million. Now the initial 2.5 million is a £500,000 to £1 million loss on the player, but that loss could be turned into a profit if those add-ons are met, and that fee goes up to 4 million. But look, I wish Sam all the best. I've got no ill feelings towards him. It didn't work out. He wasn't particularly suited to Scotland. That's fair enough. But, we wish him all the best at FC20. Now, it seems that departure made way for a signing. Yes, a genuine signing. As I reported on the video yesterday afternoon, Rangers signed Czech winger Vaclav Cerny on loan from VfL Wolfsburg of Germany. Now, there's no obligation or option to buy in this loan deal. I still could see, though, that, if Cerny has a very good season for Rangers, that this could be an option for us next summer. You look at what Cerny's got left in terms of his contract. There is really an opportunity there for us to kind of pounce and bring him to the club. I don't think that's at all far-fetched. Now, some people have obviously criticised the fact that it's a loan. Yes, another loan. But look, I think, when the club is in the financial position that it's in at this moment in time, where we don't know whether we're going to get Champions League football, which obviously will provide a substantial sum of money. We don't know whether we're going to be able to move any more players on. You've got to be very sensible with your money. And look, bringing in loans, especially if they're loans of good players like Vaclav Cerny, is a good move by Niels Koppen and Philippe Clement. It clearly seems to me that Clement and Koppen have a clear vision of what they want to do, of how they want to move this club forward. And as I said on the podcast this morning, you can't really judge Philippe Clement at this moment in time. He hasn't got his players, he hasn't got his squad. This is not his team. These are not his players. And people have criticised his ability to change things. I just don't think he's got the talent of player to be able to change things at this moment in time. He himself in an interview last season did say that he had only 4 players who he felt could play how he wanted them to play. Cerny is a good signing. It's finally getting over that right wing spot, that we've kind of struggled to replace since Daniel Candeas. We've got Oscar Cortez for the left. Now we've got Vaclav Cerny for the right. Cerny he's a direct player. He's an attacking player. He likes to get balls into the box. He likes to cut in on his left foot from the right. He can play left wing. He can play right wing. There's certainly scope as well there. If you look at the signing of Cerny for the rotation of the wingers as well, for Cortez to come right, Cerny to go left. And all that flexibility and that movement of a front three, a front four, causes opposition defenses no end of problems. So that is a very positive move. This is a player who yes, struggled at Wolfsburg last year, but that was largely down to the system that Wolfsburg used. Cerny is a winger. He's not a fullback. He's a out and out winger. And he was used as a wing back, which defensive side of the game is not really his thing. It's more that attacking side of the game. So with the fact that he will have a right back or a left back behind him for Rangers, that will certainly give him that reassurance to go and to get forward. And I just think again, if you can get someone from both sides who is willing to get at the fullbacks, to pin those fullbacks back, not only does it curtail the attacking of the opposition, it also improves, your options in terms of breaking down low blocks, going out wide, coming inside. There's a variety of options there. Both Cerny and Cortez can go outside. They can cross. If they're playing as inverted wingers, they can both come in onto their favored left foot or right foot and shoot. And that is, again, going to be very positive for Rangers moving forward. Now, in terms of Vaclav Cerny to this point in his career, he's made 261 career appearances, scoring 83 goals and getting 60 assists. That's 143 goal contributions in 261 games, which is better than 1 in 2. He presently has a 198 minute per goal rating over his career, which, if you consider the fact that he was used as a wing back last season, that he missed some time early in his playing career with injury, and he's been playing out wide as well. That's not too bad a return on minutes per goal. Now, Cerny is also a Czech international. He did play in the Euros for the Czech Republic, making 1 appearance. But overall, he's got a decent record for his country as well. 17 caps, 6 goals. That's pretty decent. 6 international goals in 17 games. A decent return by Cerny. This is a very good signing, guys. This is a player who I think can be very intelligent with how he uses the ball, with his positioning, with the ability for Rangers to play out from the back, not playing in straight lines. So the fullback pushed out wide, but the winger comes in to create that a little bit of extra space. It's all options. And I think Cerny will bring those options to Rangers. And look, we've known for a while since Michael Beale that we're crying out for wide players. When Clement came to the club, that's what seemed to be missing, that width. And I think that Cerny is certainly someone who will bring that width and that attacking talent out wide on the right-hand side. So a very positive move for me by the club. Now, if we move along a little bit, guys, obviously, please let me know what you think of those stories about Sam Lammers and obviously of Vaclav Cerny. Okay, so Joanne Jordan, what's going on with Jordan? Now, we reported yesterday that Rangers had initially offered to pay now 40% of the fee, the wages, if Sevilla agreed to 60%. We then kind of found out that a little bit that Sevilla would be willing to agree to that 40% if there was an obligation to buy next summer in the contract. So, look, I don't know how it changed or what worked out, but I've heard on the grapevine that whatever deal Rangers came back with has been accepted by Sevilla, and Sevilla prepared to allow the player to go. Now, both the manager, Pimienta of Sevilla, and also the sporting director of Sevilla, Victor Horta, have both indicated that Jordan has no future at the club, and they see him as having any footballing future away from Sevilla. There have been very little links in the Spanish league to Jordan. Now, according to these reports, Rangers have agreed terms with Sevilla on a loan. Whether it's an option to buy, obligation to buy, I'm unsure at this point. However, according to a number of Spanish media sources, Jordan is saying that he does not want to move to Scotland. He does not want to move to Rangers. Apparently, Jordan favours a move within Spain. He wants to stay in Spain. He does favour a move back to Espanyol, which is the club he began his career at. Espanyol at the moment have shown no interest in Jordan. So it appears very much that Jordan doesn't want to come, that he wants to stay in Spain. Now, look, I've got no doubt in my mind that, if this is a player that Niels Koppen or Philippe Clement have identified, or both of them have kind of identified, then he's probably a very good player. And, some of what the clips I've seen of him playing, the experience that he's got in Europa League, in the Champions League, in La Liga, from a top 5-tier league, it has got to stand him in good and positive stead going forward. But the one thing I'd say is that whilst we are desperate for a number 6, we are desperate for someone to destroy, to break up, to get the ball back, and then give it to the more creative players to go and produce, someone with a forward-thinking mentality, which is certainly Jordan. If a player doesn't want to come, if a player doesn't want to play for the club, for me, you don't sign him. You don't sign him. If he's not desperate after that first initial contact and that initial fee has been agreed to actually come to the club, then for me, you just cast him to one side. Or else you're basically getting a mercenary. You're getting someone on a high wage who doesn't really want to be here. And then you kind of start to question, do they have the heart and the spirit and the battle ready for the fight? Do they really want, it's a 50-50 on the line? Are they going to put their bodies on the line? Are they not? So, look, for me, if he doesn't want to come, just leave it now. Move on to your next target. And I'm sure, like I've said before, that Koppen and Clement have a list of targets they wish to go after. So, look, the Jordan deal could be dead. I think, personally speaking, if what the player is saying is true, that he doesn't want to come to Scotland, he doesn't want to stand for Rangers, then that's it. For me, that's the end of it. You don't give him a second chance. You don't give him the opportunity to come and play for a club like ours. If you don't want to come here, you don't deserve to be here. Simple as. Okay, so today is the final pre-season game as Rangers travel to Berlin to take on FC Union of Berlin. It's another friendly. It's another pre-season game. Does pre-season matter? Hell yes. What did you remember what Sir Walter said? He said that, as far as he was concerned, it wasn't unreasonable as a Rangers player, fan, manager to expect to win every single game. And that's certainly something we will look for today. But we're going to be back later, or we may have already done it and you may have missed out, so go back and check it out. We're going to do obviously a preview of the game coming up very obviously on the channel live, so please come and join me for that. You know, what we need to see today, what I desperately need to see today with the players we've got, and we have obviously got players that probably don't want to be here, or to some degree the manager doesn't see us having a future here. But you know, the way the situation is with, you know, the fact that Cerny's probably isn't going to be available, that a lot of the signings we've made are just young kids who again are not ready, that Todd Cantwell's with the B team, that he wants to transfer, so it isn't going to be used. You know, we've got to start to see, for me, a pattern of play, a pattern of attacking play, a pattern of defensive play. I mean, don't get me started on set pieces. I mean, there's a whole, you could do a whole video on set pieces and what needs doing from set pieces, but we need to see an improved level of performance. We need to see an intensity to the performance. We need to see a linking up, a kind of synchronicity between this team, between the players in terms of attacking and defending, so that we can see the green shoots and hope they're ready for the game on Saturday next week against Hearts. You know, look, if we see the same old pish, the same old disjointedness, the same old ability for the opposition to play through us, then for me, it's going to be a long, hard season. And this is what we need to see today, is that joined up performance, the start of something that these signings that we're starting to make now can come in and strengthen and move on to that next level. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the stories we've covered in the video today. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Guys, please obviously smash that sub. And on the way out, okay, guys, remember always, please, number one, smash that like. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And number two, remember always, we are the people.